Well, hello. Welcome to the 14th scripture reading, and today we'll be continuing on to chapter 13 of the King James Bible. And just a little note, this is a live stream, and I decided yesterday that there seemed to be a few people following along, and they may want to join live. So I'll be streaming at around between 10 and 11 a.m. every day from Eastern Canada. So that would be the East Atlantic time zone. So Eastern time zone, that would be between 9 and 10 Eastern, between 9 and 10 Eastern. As I get going, I'll probably be able to maybe set these up with a scheduled so that you can see the exact time the stream's going to start. Okay, again, let's go on. We will now move to the laptop. And we're reading from the King James Bible Online.org. Chapter 13. And Abram went unto Egypt, and he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south. And Abram was rich in cattle, in silver and gold. And he went on his journey from the south even to Bethel, unto the place where his tent had been, and at the beginning between Bethel and Hai, and unto the place of the altar which he had made there at the first. And there Abram called on the name of the Lord. And Lot also, which went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents. And the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance was great, so they could not dwell together. And there was strife between the herdsmen and Abram's cattle, and the herdmen of Lot's cattle. And the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelled then in the land. And Abram said unto Lot, Let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdsmen and thy herdmen, and we be brethren. Is not the whole land between thee? Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if thou depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoar. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan. And Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves from one from the other. Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent towards Sodom. And the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art, northward, and southward, and eastward, and westward. For all the land which thou seest, to thee I will give it, and to thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it and in the breadth of it, and I will give it unto thee. And Abram removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar unto the Lord. Okay, well, that's kind of an interesting chapter there. Connection between Abram leaving Egypt after his problems there, and then running into some difficulties. So let's just go back and take a look at the verses. So you can see up in 1, it connects back to Abram when he left Egypt. And he left with his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him. And he was rich, in verse 2, he was very rich. And he went on his journey from the south. And this is where it gets interesting. It refers to that altar. It was an altar mentioned in a previous chapter, and near Bethel. And there was an issue, I guess, with the land not being able to support the whole group. And there was also in verse 7, see, there was a conflict arising between Abram's cattle and herdsmen and Lot's cattle and herdsmen. There were also Canaanites and Perizzites who dwelled in the land. So they were fighting, I guess, arguing. So they decided to split up. And a bit of a discussion in verse 9 about that. And it mentions in verse 10, it mentions Sodom and Gomorrah. So not sure when that debacle happens, but there's a reference to it. And I guess Lot heads in that direction. And in 11, it talks about that Lot chose the plain of Jordan. And Abram, he decided to dwell in the land of Canaan. And it goes on, it talks about, in verse 13, makes another reference to Sodom and how the people were wicked and they were sinners. So in 14, the Lord talks to Abram and starts to bestow upon Abram some blessings. Gives him access to all of this land. So then we scroll all the way down, and that's kind of where it ends in verse 18, where Abram removes his tent, and he dwelled in the plain of Mamre. So that probably connects to some other families and so on that we will hit in the Bible. So that's it, and we'll check in with you tomorrow.